There's really no secret about our approach. We keep moving forward, opening up new doors, doing new things, because we're curious. And curiosity keeps leading us down new paths. We're always exploring and experimenting.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Imagineers Disney podcast. I am your host, Matt, and I am joined, as always, by my good friend and co-host, Susie. We okay?
What a day! I had
loud for some reason. Hold on.
Oh no!
You weren't this loud earlier, like before we started the show. Something happened.
Oh.
Let's try that.
Hello.
It's a little bit better. Yes.
Okay. I'm just tired. I had a long day. I know you had a long day. I know every travel agent in the world had a long day today.
Yeah. Yeah. And it was a mess today.
Yeah.
With Disney.
Mm-hmm.
It was not a good day for the Disney phone line, internet help desk, reservation system.
No.
Yeah. We'll talk about Boo Bash in a second, but
do you want to talk about it though? Are you good? You're not still.
So we're good. I had to rely on some help to finish out the ticket confirmation booking for some of our clients, but that's what the team at Travel Nation does. We stick together to be the very best travel agency out there, not just for Disney, but for everything. So we take care of you no matter what. And in this case today, Boo Bash, which I have a little graphic, little picture promotional image that they threw out there. The after hours event that will be taking place on select nights in August, September, and October. This is kind of taking place of the Halloween party this year.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we're still kind of coming off of COVID, so they're, switching it up a little bit. I would think that the not so scary Halloween party will make its grand return next year in 2022.
Oh, definitely.
We will see, but this is better than nothing. And it actually has some cool stuff. So you'll be able to have character cavalcades, and there'll be fun snacks. And then, of course, you'll be able to ride all of the rides in Magic Kingdom at a very limited amount of people inside the park for this ticketed event.
And, ew. Allergy. Every time I do that, I think of the line from Monsters, Inc. where Mike's like, I have allergies, which is just such an obscure line. But we were talking about this. Don't look at me like that. We were talking about the fact that you're basically getting half of a day's worth at the park without having to buy if you just have a Boo Bash ticket, you don't need regular park admission. You don't need a park pass. So you basically get 5 hours in the park, about half a day, for a little bit more than the regular price of a one-day ticket. And you get all these extras and shorter lines. So at first, a lot of people were like, oh, it's just a wannabe Halloween party. But it's a pretty sweet deal, really.
Yeah. So, I mean, there are pros and cons to it, of course. The Halloween party lasted 5 hours. It was typically from 7 to midnight. This is shortened. It's 9 to midnight, but you do get in the park 2 hours early. You can start entering the park at 7 p.m.
And so park entrance is a half day, but the actual event is shorter. Yeah.
Correct. The event itself is shorter. So those are like the cons. It is a little bit, in fact, it is more expensive than previous years for the Halloween party. So that's kind of another drawback, but I anticipate this will be fun. There'll be fun things to do. I think people are looking forward to getting back to the special event happenings at Disney World, and especially as we come up to the 50th anniversary, that will be, it'll be a fun thing to do if you are traveling during those dates. And tickets went on sale today for guests who already have resort reservations.
Mm-hmm.
So those are on sale starting today, and it was kind of a nightmare a little bit. Phone lines opened at 7:00, and from what I understand, they didn't have the tickets in the system at 7 a.m. when people called in to order the tickets. So it was kind of a mess.
I don't understand how that happens, but you know what? Our clients, our friends of the podcast, Hannah and her friends, if she's listening, she knows that she got her Boo Bash tickets and everything is good there. So
does she know how long it took?
No.
Hannah, we love you, and we love all of our clients so much that we will be on the phone for 7 hours waiting to book your tickets. Now,
waiting to be dropped again.
Yeah, between the hours of 7 and 2 p.m., probably a dozen dropped calls.
But can you imagine not working with a travel agent and trying to do that by yourself?
Yeah, and then those were the dropped calls after I gave it 15 minutes.
Yeah.
I'm going to see if I can I'm gonna mess with a couple of things here real quick. I'm just gonna delete a couple of people's names so they're not showing up online, but I'm gonna show you the hotline. Their Disney Agent Platinum line. Whoop, a little blurry. And 87.
Oh, look, you called me.
And Susie.
Hey.
87 calls into the Disney Platinum line today.
I love that you had to delete people. You think you're so cool. You have all these people who need their anonymity.
I just didn't want to throw their names up online. I'll throw yours up there. Whatever.
Yeah. I don't care. Here I am.
So 87 calls later. Hannah,
literally,
we got your tickets.
Woohoo!
But anyway, Boo Bash tickets are on sale, and if you want to take advantage of those, shoot us an email. Let us know what dates you want to go, and we'll call that in and get those situated for you. So fun times. Yeah.
Couple other pieces of news going on right now.
Yes.
Or things that happen. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
This past weekend, something happened at Disneyland.
Yes, Avengers Campus opened.
And I'm very jealous. I can't wait until I go out to Disneyland in a little while. I haven't made my trip yet, but I'm planning on it.
Same.
But it looks really, really good. If any of you watched, and I hope you all did, the Imagineering story, when that came on Disney Plus, when that premiered, they showed at the very end a little sneak preview of the Spider-Man animatronic they'd been working on, and seeing him in action, seeing people's video. It's elaborate. Now, it's a mixture of an actual cast member doing some stunts and them flinging a robot halfway across the lot. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it looks really cool. There are so many fun elements. That animatronic, and then of course the actual Spider-Man attraction that is there. Guardians has been there for 3 years now. I think
a little longer than that. I think.
Yeah.
Nothing like that. Oh no.
It's been so long. And then of course, there will be expansion as well with the. Why did you forget the name of the aerial vehicle?
Oh my gosh, the twin jet. Yeah. Yeah.
Quinjet. Yeah.
Quinn, not twin.
I think so. Yeah.
It's been a day.
Quinjet, and there will be attraction for that later on. And then, of course, the PIM test kitchen.
Yes.
You can get big food and little food.
That looks so fun. And all of the different characters who, even right now, with, of course, COVID and California even being at a different stage than Florida, Disney still being very careful with their cast members. So they still have characters out similar to like Disney World is doing, where you can't meet and greet, but they're there and they do little things. That if you haven't seen the Doctor Strange little show thing that he does with the screen where he's doing his fingers and the whole, it's really good.
Yeah.
Black Panther, Thor, Loki, opening night, Anthony Mackie was there, Paul Rudd. Like, this is legit. This is really sharp.
And it looks like, the characters specifically are something that they did really, really well as in comparison to Galaxy's Edge. Galaxy's Edge, by design, they kind of shoehorned themselves into a very specific time period.
Yeah.
So they're not doing things in Star Wars land.
Yeah.
That you would that they're doing in Avengers Campus. In Avengers Campus, really, there isn't a time period.
It's just a celebration, essentially.
Loki isn't dead. He's walking around with Thor.
Oh, speaking of which, Loki comes out tomorrow as of the recording of this episode.
So yeah,
I'm so excited.
So lots of fun Marvel.
That's a good point. I didn't think about it that way, because you're right. We've discussed before that, what happens to the launch bay, what happens to Star Tours, because it celebrates all other parts of the Star Wars galaxy, whereas Galaxy's Edge can't. Avengers Campus is gets a little bit of everything. And let's be honest, we need that because we can't do a lot of Marvel characters here in Florida. So it's for now. So it's nice to be able to have that option a little further west.
Yeah, for sure. So, okay. Well, let's get into tonight's topic. We have a very relaxed, easygoing topic tonight.
Did you dress for the occasion?
No, this is just what I wore to work today. Just
because your shirt gives off very much vibes for our topic for tonight. I'm wearing a Star Wars t-shirt. My only thing that would work for, I guess it's not a secret what we're talking about. My only Fort Wilderness stuff is long sleeved, and it was 92 today, so I'm not doing that.
It's been very hot.
Yeah, very quick.
So, Yeah. I tried to get photos from Susie. I'm like, oh, you have some photos of your campsite, right? And apparently Susie doesn't.
I do, but I mean, we've been going to Fort Wilderness for a very, very long time. You talk for a second, because I actually have a picture I think I've shown before, but I want to show you guys again.
Yeah.
But I know we just never took pictures of our campsite. We'd been going there for 15 years, maybe more. I don't know.
Well, Fort Wilderness is really one of the first resorts at Disney World. If you go back and watch the opening of Walt Disney World television special on YouTube, you can actually find that on our channel. It has lots of elements from the campground that you can see. But yeah, it's been a fan favorite for a very, very long time. There are elements that are in place there still, like the Hoop-de-Doo review, that have been there for decades. The train does not run through the campground anymore, but
but we've talked about that. You can see the remnants of where it was. Yeah.
But really, there are, would you say, 3 lodging options?
Yes, I think. Yeah, that's
campground.
Yes.
So you can pitch a tent.
That is not my cup of tea, friends.
You can get a tent campsite, pop-up campsite, and then you can pull in your camper, RV.
Yes.
Which is what Susie typically does when she goes down.
We have, where is this picture? Oh, well, we'll share it later.
So tell everyone kind of the difference between the types of campsites. There's premium. What does premium mean? And
so to be a little cynical, the difference in the different kinds of campsites are the amount of concrete that you have. So depending on the size of your vehicle that you're pulling or your motorhome, depending on how much like pine needles or rocks you want around you, there are a couple of different kind of campsites. There's just a regular campsite. There's with a full hookup. You're right. There's premium. There's meadow, which is closer to the pool and the shop and the outdoor movie area, which we'll talk about a little bit later. So there's about 3 or 4 different kinds of camper campsites. There's tent campsites also, as Matt mentioned. That's the other thing. If you want a larger campsite, you don't just get more concrete. If you have a larger vehicle or you want to pull your car up there, you can also pitch a tent outside. We've done that before when we've had more people staying than fit on the motorhome. We've just added a little extra tent outside and made the guys sleep out there so all the girls could sleep in the motorhome in the air conditioning where it is bug free. But yeah, you have a lot of different.
What? There are no mosquitoes in Disney World. What are you talking about?
I didn't say mosquitoes. There are other kinds of bugs. There are other creepy things. There are things at Fort Wilderness that I have heard at night. I've heard sounds. I don't know what's out there, but it's Critters. Disturbing. Listen, I'm not going to get off on this tangent, but I 100% believe in some form of Bigfoot exists. And I think I've heard it at Fort Wilderness.
And he has vacationed at Disney World.
In Florida, he's called Swamp Ape, I think is what.
Swamp Ape.
Ugh. But yeah, there's a lot of different options depending on what you want.
Mike says, I've heard sounds there too.
You think it's a bird. There's bird sounds. They used to, so let's crank it back a little bit. Back in the day, Fort Wilderness had several peacocks. And when I say back in the day, I mean as late as the mid 2000s, probably, when that's about the time that they took them away. So there were male peacocks, female peacocks. You could, of course, the difference, the males have the big tail because they got to be like, look at me. I think they had an albino peacock at one point. Those things are aggressive and they make terrifying sounds. So that was one of the creatures that roamed the campground for many, many years. I don't know why. And then one year we came and we didn't see any. And we asked and they're like, yeah, it either like attacked someone or it did something it wasn't supposed to. And
okay.
And they took it away.
Okay. We see turkey there.
Oh yeah. Okay. Turkey, deer. And they have no fear. So if you're like me and you like being outdoors, but you also like the option of not being outdoors, Fort Wilderness is perfect for you because you can see all kinds of things and they'll get right near you.
Mike also added to his previous statement, I was convinced it was a gator one time. I know nothing about Florida. I just assume it's always gators.
That's a fair assumption. They hiss.
Yeah. I've stepped on one before. By accident. That's a story for another time. Anyway, not at Disney World. It was,
okay. I was like, what?
To the west of Disney World, still in Central Florida, but not at Disney.
Okay.
Where were we? Oh yeah. So I was just there, and we'll get to the running trails in a little bit. But yeah. Wildlife is abundant. There, I saw so many different types of animals, birds and lizards and snakes.
Yes,
but nothing that could harm me.
Possum, armadillo, bunnies, safe animals. So you were at Fort Wilderness and you did not stay in a camper.
Did not.
And I don't feel like you guys are tented it up with a toddler.
I would be fine with a tent, but other people in my party, maybe not so much. So I was with my parents. So my parents would definitely not tent it up either. So yeah, it was the 5 of us. And what is that beeping noise? Oh, well. Anyway.
It's Bigfoot.
Yeah, we stayed over at the cabins. I took some pictures on my phone. So
are you at the end of a loop?
We were at the end of a loop.
Nice.
Yes. We were right on the end, so we had a corner on the loop. I don't know if I would want to stay in this one again. Specifically,
This cabin or the loop?
This cabin.
Okay.
So, and I should have taken a picture on the other side of this. But do you see the tree that's kind of in the center of the frame there?
Yeah.
You see how it's kind of leaning a little bit?
Yeah.
So like the root system of this tree is like above ground.
Okay.
If we get a hurricane and if it goes down, it's going in the direction of the cabin right over where I slept. So I'm like, you know what? I don't want to stay in this one again. It was nice. We had a good time, but
it's a very specific complaint.
I would like to not be on this one, but it was a lovely cabin. They're all the same, pretty much.
Yes.
Some of them have different views. Some have different views, but for, decoration wise, they are exactly the same. So this is the exterior. It has the outdoor grill, which is fun. And then up on the porch, you have a picnic table. And then there are actually 2 doors that are on these cabins. One of them is kind of pointless a little bit.
Yeah. Because the bed blocks it mostly.
No. It's not blocked. I mean, like if the place was burning down, this is the door that you go
or
out.
a hurricane knocked a tree over on you.
You escape out of this door. So the main door, the one on the right side of the photo, clearly has the magic band lock where you go up. It's just like any other resort door.
Yeah.
Disney World. Tap it, you go in. On the other side, on the exterior, there is no lock. There is no button to push. It is just the handle. So you can only lock it from inside. So if you are good with leaving your door unlocked all day, I guess you could use it to come in and out of. But for the most part, I mean that's just it. So so those are the doors. Then when you go inside, there is a nice living room, and they remodeled these not too long ago. I remember the olden days when the sofa here, it is a sofa bed. It's a futon that pulls out into a queen. And long time ago, this futon was actually a Murphy bed and was actually, where the TV is.
Yep. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
That little nook there was where the bed used to reside.
Yeah.
But now it's a much nicer bed. It's a full queen. My parents stayed on it. They said it was very comfortable. One of the best pull-out sofas. They like, my parents travel quite a bit, and occasionally they'll have to use a pull-out sofa. But they said it was very comfortable. They slept well. You have a little dining room table here with some chairs and the bench and some other seating. And then, of course, when they did the upgrade, the TV also was upgraded as well.
And look at all that storage. Now, in some of those cabinets, you have the bedding for the pull-out couch, but there's a ton of room here if you just want to like spread out. Is it 6 people that the cabin can hold?
Technically, yes. Technically,
I believe.
And sleep 6.
Yeah, so there's a lot of places for you to put all of your stuff. That's just another thing to keep in mind.
Yeah, for sure. And then speaking of other sleeping arrangements, there is a master bedroom, and the cabins have it's a queen bed. So the only downside, of course, with the queen bed is it's up against the wall. So if you are the person up against the wall, the only exit is either directly in front of you or over the person that is sleeping next to you. So it is a queen size bed. And then it's a pair of bunk beds that a set of bunk beds, not a pair, I guess, technically.
Well, a pair of people can sleep on a set of bunk beds.
Yeah, there you go.
Words are, yeah, that's confusing. I normally sleep there. When we go, my mom gets the queen and I sleep on the bottom bunk. I've made many Rise of the Resistance boarding passes from a a Fort Wilderness cabin. Wi-Fi is surprisingly good out there.
Yeah, and I didn't get a flip side of this room, but there is you can kind of see the edge there on the right. It's green, but there's like a little kind of countertop, and that's where the TV in this room sits. And then on the opposite side, there's stuff to like hang your clothes and put your suitcases. So there's some storage space in there as well.
A dresser below the TV. Yeah. I'm telling you guys, there's so much space, and you can see there's room under both of those beds if you want to slide more bags there. If you're not using a top bunk, you can, of course, put things up there too. Yeah, the cabins, I feel like you get probably some of the most bang for your buck in terms of like space to put things. It just feels more like a actual living space than some of the other comparably priced suites like Art of Animation or something like that.
Yep. The cabins have one bathroom. So here is the layout here. You have your sink and your toilet, and then it's a tub shower combo. So
important to note real quick though, that the cabin loops don't have a comfort station, unlike the others. So the camper sites, the tent sites, which is there is a completely another corner of Fort Wilderness that really is just tent camping. There are comfort stations that have multiple showers, multiple stalls. So if you have several people wanting to get ready at the same time, it's easy to split that up. That's probably the one downside to the cabins is they don't have a comfort station, which I mean, realistically, you don't have two bathrooms when you stay at any of the other hotels either. So that makes sense. But that's just something that our first time staying at a cabin, we didn't realize because we were so used to motorhome camping and there being a comfort station. We thought, well, maybe some of the loops share one. No. So just figure that out however you need to for getting ready in the morning.
Yep. So I think my favorite part about the cabins, and I think this is the cabin's biggest draw, this right here.
Yes, 1000%. In those cabinets are plates, silverware. I think you got you can see on the counter, there's some basics for your coffee. So just bringing your own food at Disney saves you probably the amount of money it would cost, to have like a less expensive resort, but here you get so much more room. We normally eat breakfast and like a late lunch and then dinner in the park or vice versa. So we're eating 2 of our 3 meals in the cabin, sometimes all of them, just to save on money because you have so many options. Microwave, huge refrigerator, dishwasher, you got the little stovetop. And then of course you've got outlets. So if you wanted to like bring something else, you can, a different coffee maker or whatever. Yeah.
Blender, if you do shakes in the morning. But for those of you who are listening, we have a picture of the kitchen.
Oh yeah.
It shows all of the appliances.
There are things you can find in the kitchen.
The refrigerator, freezer, the stovetop, it's all electric, the electric stovetop. Microwave, sink,
trash bags.
Yep.
There too.
Toaster, dishwasher, housekeeping. I believe still does the dishes, so you don't have to worry about that.
True. Except when we go to Fort Wilderness, we bring our dog, so housekeeping can't come. So we have to do our own dishes because he's 15 pounds of vicious. 15 pounds and 4 teeth. Bless his heart.
So yeah,
we rescued him. He had a rough life.
The kitchen, I think, is probably the best feature of the cabins.
Yeah,
if you are budget conscious, you are paying a little bit more for staying here. It is kind of technically the campgrounds are value resorts, but they're not. The cabins are not value resort prices.
Right.
You're probably looking, I think the rack rate is like $400.
Yeah.
Or right around there, depending on time of the year.
And discounts.
But if you can find them with discounts, seasonal rates, pass holder or Florida resident rates, you can get well below that. And if you're going with split family, kind of like we did, I went with my parents, you can split the cost and save some money. But you'll especially save some money on food because now you have the opportunity to literally prep any meal that you want there in the cabin.
And let's say this, if you're flying into Disney and you're like, I'm not bringing all of my food with me on a flight, how do I do that? There's a Walmart about 15 minutes away from Fort Wilderness.
Publix and
there's also, of course, Disney sells food on property, but you pay a little bit for that convenience. So, but if you want more of a variety, there's a Walmart not too far away. There's another little grocery store across Apopka. Whatever that road is, somewhere over there. So you have options. If you come in, go get your food, fill it up. I'm telling you guys, Matt's right. This kitchen makes all the difference because, just how easy it is if you're just hanging out and you're like, oh, I want whatever. Or if you're like me or someone with more specific dietary needs who needs to bring their own food. If it needs to be refrigerated or you're just more conscious of that, there you go.
Yeah, or if you have medicine that you need to keep refrigerated, that's a great option. That's a full size refrigerator. These are not the mini fridges that are in your typical resort room. These are full on refrigerators. So
right.
It's great. I love the cabins. I think they're awesome. I think they're a great resort options. Again, especially for the budget conscious person who's maybe wanting to spend a little less on food.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about activities.
There's a lot.
Things to do at the campground. And we actually had one of our listeners, Danny. He likes to sneak into river country. Wait a minute. Well, you can't really do that anymore.
No, unfortunately.
Used to, you could go sneak over into river country and put your videos on YouTube and be banned from the parks for
yes, but also there's a lot of places you can go that you probably shouldn't go in Fort Wilderness, but no one tells you not to go. So for instance, my dad, who can't get in trouble because he's in heaven, used to follow the train tracks with our dog Bowden, and he would pick him up and they walked through the woods following the train area. And there's not trails over there, but I don't recommend doing that. But that whole area that we're referring to where river country has looks a lot different than it used to. Do you want to go ahead and talk about that then, since we got the comment?
Well, it's a
pile of dirt.
It's a construction site or a former construction site. Maybe, we don't know. It's so
we're trying to be nice.
So river country, closed. I think, was it 2001? It
was before my first trip, which was 2003. So I think so. Or maybe it was right around that time.
But instead of dismantling it, they just kind of left it there, and it looked like a post-apocalyptic war zone. Just abandoned, left to the elements. But they have completely cleared it out because that's where Reflections was supposed to go. We don't know.
Might go. I don't know.
Future. Yeah.
So
anyway.
part of that issue to that whole area was there was a bike trail that connected Fort Wilderness and Wilderness Lodge. Yes. I think it was 3/4 of a mile or something like that. And it's wooded on both sides. You would see animals this is where I'm telling you, the animals here have no fear. Don't feed them. Crying out loud, please don't do that. But the animals are really used to people, and don't touch them. But if you get off your bike or, you're running and just slow down, they're not going to run away from you. Yeah. However, said pile of dirt exists. So that trail is currently not in existence. It's just a weird thing. And that was a really cool benefit because we would normally ride bikes over to Wilderness Lodge, play it there. arcade, just like walk around because Wilderness Lodge is awesome. And then we would bike back just for like a really carefree afternoon. Because there's so many activities at Fort Wilderness, you don't even have to go to a park. You just hang out there and do stuff.
Yeah. When I went for my run at Fort Wilderness, I had forgotten that that trail was closed. So
yeah,
there's a construction fence. But
there's a lot of other places you can run, right? You still were running through the loops and stuff.
Yeah, running through the loops and through some of the wooded areas. Got turned around a little bit, but that's okay.
Cool.
Yeah, you
made it out.
Yeah, I did. I'm alive. Danny also mentioned, he goes, something he always did, just like your dad. He would walk the railroad tracks. It's completely open to guests and is a nice walk in the woods. It's between the 700 and 800 loop and is part of the old Fort Wilderness Railroad.
So anywhere where you see kind of a weird looking mound, or you can still find pieces of the railroad ties, they're still wood, and it's crazy. So actually we saw a little bit of that there's a picture of the railroad in the cabins in that dinette area above the table that shows the little bit of kind of like an illustrated you can see a little bit of kind of what that was like. And of course that's an ode to Walt Disney and his love for trains.
Yeah. So the trails are great to run or bike or walk, but then there's of course Tri-Circle D. You want to go ride some horses, they have the stables there. I don't think the fishing charters are back. They
don't leave the dock. When we were there in April, there were cast members on boats with families fishing right there off of the dock. So there was some kind of option for fishing, but we'll refer to a world where post-COVID, where everything is back to normal. I imagine all of that will be coming back.
Sure.
You're right. So there's charter options. There's the little speedboats that you see zooming around everywhere. I think you can fit like 2 people in. Pontoons. There's all kinds of different boating options that you can do in Bay Lake.
Bay Lake. Yep.
But there's also smaller boating options for around the Meadows area where you can pedal boat where you pedal. What is this? Pedal with your feet. There's canoes and kayaks and all of those fun options. So Mike may not want to do that because he may encounter one of those gators he keeps hearing.
Yeah.
But that also depends seasonally, of course, on the level of the water, because we've been there before where there's a lot of water and when there is not a lot of water. So, and you can also fish in that area too. Yeah.
Yep.
If you like water things, don't worry, Fort Wilderness has it.
Mike said, nope.
Listen, we did those pedal boats one time and we're exhausted. It is so much work. I will never do that again.
Yeah. They're a lot of fun though. Oh gosh, there's so much to do. The campfire.
We alluded to that earlier.
Yep. Chippendale. I think
Chippendale, and they do. And you can purchase s'mores ingredients.
Yes.
Is that, I guess, as material items,
building items
to make s'mores. And they do a nightly movie. The nightly movie is actually still a thing. It's a little bit different with social distancing, but you are outside. They also sell bug repellent, but I know there's no mosquitoes at Disney. Bring bug repellent anyway, because if you're like me, they'll get through. But there's like gnats. But it's fun. It's an outdoorsy thing. They, if you arrive before, they sing campfire songs and do all the little hoedown kind of things with the fiddle and whatever. And then, you watch a Disney movie. I went one night with my brother. I dragged him along with me, and we watched Camp Rock. And to this day, I apologize to him as well as the people sitting in front of us because I sang along.
A little bit. Yep.
Sang along a little bit, or I'm sorry a little bit?
Both.
I'm not sorry, really, but I sing a lot.
Sorry, not sorry.
But it's fun. It's a really fun, I guess just campsite thing to do.
Well,
this is my version of camping. I'm sorry if some of y'all are rustic. This is as rustic as Susie's going to get.
Well, let's wrap it up with dining options.
Yeah.
And of course, we talked about the kitchens at, at the cabins, and there's kind of the general store where you can get some snacky stuff if you're looking for something. But Trails End, one of Susie's favorite places.
Oh my gosh, I cannot wait until all of this is back open and normal again.
Trails End, great location for breakfast. Breakfast is really good.
And brunch on Sundays is really good because you can literally get a Mickey waffle, an oatmeal, and fruit, and then go to the carving station. And they have like mashed potatoes and frittatas, and the price is slightly more. I've said it before. I will never not talk about this. This is the best price for the meal you get, in my opinion, at Disney World, the breakfast buffet, because you're basically eating, if you go at the right time, because you can't really rush a buffet. So there's no point like going early to try to make some kind of, fast pass whenever those come back or whatever. Go for like a 10:30 lunch or breakfast, and you're not going to need lunch or dinner for a few days. So
yeah, it's a great option. Then there's Crockett's Tavern. They're near that what is called the Settlement. No, wait, Settlement?
Outpost.
Sorry.
Settlement. Outpost is the front. Settlement's the back.
Settlement's the back. So yes, I was right. Settlement, Crockett's Tavern, and then of course the Hoop-Dee-Doo.
The one and only.
The one and only.
The legendary.
Coming back soon, hopefully.
I think so. Yeah.
Longest running dinner theater in America. Continuously. So they have 3 shows a night on most nights, I think. Mm-hmm. And then it's all you care to eat. Ribs, fried chicken, vegetables.
There are vegetarian options.
Your beverages are included. And for you who partake in alcohol, that does include beer and sangria as well. So bottomless on those. And then for dessert, you have your strawberry shortcake.
I miss it so much.
And then you are serenaded for the evening by song and dance
and puns,
comedy. But yeah, it is a treasure.
It really is.
At Disney World.
Fort Wilderness is a treasure. I love how you describe this post for our live show, like tucked away, because it really is. I actually was talking to some friends recently who just went for the weekend to Fort Wilderness and didn't go to a theme park. They just went to hang out. And there's so many activities to do, but it's so quiet. And I know we've mentioned this before. It has all the Disney qualities, but it doesn't feel like Pop Century or, even like contemporary, where it's very hustle and bustle. There's a lot going on, people going in and out. It's very laid back, very relaxed. People riding around on golf carts. There are old people who will go and stay for like a month at a time at Fort Wilderness who are retired, and they are so fun to talk to. They just take their motor home all around. Like, it's just a much slower pace. And if you need that, and even if you're not going to the park, like, of course, we can still, book you Fort Wilderness just for that experience in and of itself, which I highly recommend. I love it. Matt and I were talking this afternoon about tonight's show, and we were like, we could just go on and on about everything Fort Wilderness has, and what makes it so great and how much we love it. You just stayed there recently, so it's all like fresh in your mind.
Yeah, full disclosure, we really do try to prep for our shows, but there are some days that
I love we have to say that, like, some people like, do you?
Yeah, but there are some days that are just little bit more difficult than others with our jobs that we do. And like today was just crazy. And you're like, okay, we need to talk about something. And we're like, what can we talk about that we really just don't need to prep about? And we can just vent. Well, not vent, but really just go into detail.
Yeah.
Just like that. And
I mean, we're passionate about Disney, but there's just something special about Fort Wilderness where you just like connect with your family in a much different way, I feel like, than you do and especially, if you have your own motorhome or, you're renting a motorhome or you're at the cabin, like it feels more homey than a hotel room. So you can like relax a little bit more.
Yeah. Oh, and we did forget to say one thing during the holiday, Halloween, 4th of July, Christmas.
And what was it called when we were there? Remember we saw there was something going on. What was that one called?
Halloween, but it was in
April. Yeah. I don't know. There was a Fort Wilderness Facebook group of campers who, I guess because we didn't get to do all the cool Halloween stuff we're about to talk about past year because of COVID, decided to have their own trick-or-treating in April. So
it was fun.
Spring. That was it, which is very cute. So in the middle of April, Jack Skellington's everywhere, and you got a little bit of a taste of what it looks like at Halloween time, which is elaborate. People go all out.
Yeah, and then people go out for Christmas as well. They decorate their campsites with Christmas lights and lawn ornaments, and then the 4th of July golf cart parade and the Halloween golf cart parade. It's such a different vibe. It's so cool.
It's more community. Like I feel like Fort Wilderness people are more loyal and have more of like a community than people who are like, I just really love all-star movies, man. Like that's not a thing. Like there aren't Facebook groups dedicated to that. Like Fort Wilderness is a lifestyle.
Yeah, it really is. And that's why it is one of the most difficult resorts to book.
Yeah, it really is.
Especially the campsites. If you are serious about getting a campsite, a tent pop-up, or if you have an RV or a camper, or if you want to rent an RV or camper and bring it on site, like honestly, plan it a year in advance. That's probably the safe bet, because especially the Christmas time and around the holidays, is where they will book up immediately. So it's not impossible to get, but it is one of the more difficult places to get, especially the premium campsites. So,
and if you're renting, I just want to go ahead and say this. There are some people or there are some companies that can book you Fort Wilderness when they like rent your RV. Don't do that. Come through us. They can book you your motorhome for rent. We can book you your campsite. You just give them the confirmation number. I know because I've done it multiple times for clients, just because I know Fort Wilderness so well, and I know they do too. But you get a little bit of an added service when you work with Matt and I, as opposed to some of those other rental services. Because if you want to go to Fort Wilderness this fall and you want to go to Boo Bash, guess who would have been on the phone for 7 hours for you, unlike your travel trailer rental company. So let's just to keep that in mind.
Yeah. And I almost forgot, and I can't believe I almost forgot. So in our intro that we'll have for the audio podcast, I mentioned there are pros and cons. There are very, very few cons to this resort, and there's really only one. There's only one, and that's transportation.
Yes.
Transportation is very difficult at this resort, but there's a workaround. We'll get to that in just a second. It's a sprawling place.
It's huge.
It's very large. So to get to Magic Kingdom, you have to take a bus to the settlement and then hop on the boat to Magic Kingdom. Or if you're staying back towards the settlement and you need to get to the front of the resort over at the outpost, That's where the buses take you to the other resorts. Again, you have to take a bus that'll pick you up from designated bus stops, and will transport you to the front of the resort.
Yeah.
It just, if you're in a rush, it may or may not work.
Don't be in a rush because you're going to need to add like 20 minutes at least to your, maybe 30 to your travel time.
So, we were staying in a cabin, so we drove. And the day we went to Magic Kingdom, the day we checked into the cabin, our cabin wasn't ready. But we went to the park, and then while we were in the park, our cabin became ready. And then when we were done, we hopped on the boat and went over to Fort Wilderness. So we're over at the settlement, and we waited probably 10 or so minutes for the purple line to come pick us up, because that's the one that drops off at the cabins. And he started stopping at the loops, and then we were in the 2300 loop, and he stops at 1800 and 1900 and 2000 and 2100, and he blew right past our 2300 loop. Just kept on going. I don't know what happened.
2300 is canceled.
We were like, what are we doing? Like, why? Because we had a scooter for my mom, and it was a mess. So
yeah. So what are your transportation tips and suggestions? And because I have a few. First of all, there's the official Disney solution.
Yes.
Which is to rent a golf cart.
And that's my number one solution, is if you are staying at the campground for an extended period of time, rent a golf cart.
You can bring your own if you have one.
Yes,
you can. Absolutely. You don't have to register it or anything with the front desk. There's not a parking fee for your golf cart. Just, you can do that. But Matt was talking about how a year in advance you need to book your reservation. You need to book your golf cart at the exact same time.
Yep, the exact same time. Kind of do it all at once. Of course, we will take care of that for you. But getting a golf cart, especially if you're staying there for an extended period of time, is going to save your bacon when it comes to time and getting to where you want to be.
Save your bacon
in a timely manner, because if you're at one of the campsites, or if you're at one of the cabins, you hop on your golf cart, you drive. If you're going to Magic Kingdom, you drive to the settlement, and then there's literally like a little golf cart parking lot, dirt parking lot, little area where people just leave them for the day, and then go to Magic Kingdom, come back, get back into the golf cart, and go back to your campsite or cabin without having to wait for a bus.
Yeah. Here's my tip after. So that would be number one. My number two would be, you're likely going to have your own car if you have driven. We talk a lot about if you are, Magical Express is going away next year, but through the end of this year, if you're flying in, you really don't need to rent a car because Disney provides your transportation. However, if you are driving to Fort Wilderness, just take your car. Now, except Magic Kingdom, that does get a little tricky. You may need to if you're up front, take the bus to the back because you can only get there through boat unless you want to go to Ticket and Transportation Center and waste even more time. But instead of waiting on a bus to get on another bus, just drive to Epcot, just drive to Hollywood Studios, instead of having to rely on multiple other modes of transportation. If you're staying at a campsite, you get one vehicle included to park there. You don't have to pay for parking like you do at a regular resort. The cabin, you do. So if you have a car at the cabin, you have to pay that overnight parking fee. If you're staying at the trailer, or like a motorhome or your travel trailer, you can have a vehicle there where you don't pay the overnight parking. So if you're also comparing the options of, do I want a cabin? Do I want to do this? Factor in that parking price too, because that may make a difference. Yes, Magic Kingdom is a little tricky because of the boat, but everywhere else, I say just drive yourself. I know Disney transportation is free, but it's tricky at Fort Wilderness.
Yeah, but yeah. So either your own vehicle or the golf carts. I think
Or bike.
Or bike.
If you're really
or walk
energetic. Oof. I don't know about that. We have literally been in the furthest group or the furthest loop of cabins up front. We've literally been in the furthest RV loop in the back, the 100s. By the way, if you want to know which campsite loops are the best, depending on what kind of camper you have, shoot us a message. I have a lot of experience in that. Literally, we spent like 20 years going to Fort Wilderness in a 40-foot motorhome. My dad grew up driving large vehicles like tractor trailers and wreckers. So even he couldn't get into some of the spots because some of them are easier than others to park into. So if you want to book Fort Wilderness, that's another advantage we have. You can't guarantee what loop you'll be in, but we know that we can request it. Yeah.
So if we hope this episode has piqued your interest in staying at the campground.
I want to go.
If you've never stayed there, you absolutely should. It should be on your Disney resort bucket list. Then, of course, if you're a huge fan of the campgrounds and like this is where you always stay, we'd love to help you as well. You can email us at imagineerspodcast@gmail.com and just let us know when you would like to take your trip to Disney World, and we will get you some quotes and pricing. And we'd love to help you with anywhere you'd like to go, whether it's Disney World, Disneyland, the cruise line, especially with cruises coming back. I've booked some Royal Caribbean and Norwegian. People are excited to come back to sailing. Adventures by Disney, Alani, if you want to go out to Hawaii, really anywhere you want to travel, we can help you get you to where you want to go and spend that special time with your family. So again, our email is imagineerspodcast@gmail.com, and just let us know the travel dates you're looking at and we'll get you set up. Well, if you haven't subscribed to the podcast, you can find us. We are on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify. If you have a podcast app on your phone, just search for the Imagineers Disney Podcast and it should pop up. Leave us a rating. Tell us what you like about the show. And then, of course, you can email us as well, again, for show ideas. We have lots of fun shows coming up. As we go throughout the summer, we're looking forward to doing some fun stuff with you. So,
oh my gosh. Yeah, you guys.
I haven't told you about the July 4th episode.
Me?
Yeah.
I might need to know that.
Oh, okay. I wonder if I should say it. It was a recommendation by one of our listeners. And again, we listen to our listeners. We will.
Which one?
Who was it? I can't remember.
No, like which suggestion? Because we've had a couple really good ones recently.
So Disney's America.
Oh my gosh, yes.
So that'll be fun.
Patriotism, yes. Okay. Yes.
What could have been, but didn't happen. So there was going to be another Disney park near Washington, D.C. But we'll talk about that as we inch closer towards the July 4th holiday. Thought that'd be a fitting time.
That's a good one.
Subject, but
yeah.
Anyway, so submit your show ideas and questions. If you have any questions about anything Disney or travel related, just let us know, and we'd be happy to take care of you. So you can find us on social media. We are the Imagineers Disney Podcast on Facebook, the _Imagineers on Instagram, and the Imagine_ears on Twitter. And then, of course, we have our movie nights on Discord. We will not be having a movie this Friday night. I know it's been a little while, so we're sorry.
We're
guys.
saving up, though. We're saving up for a really, really good movie soon. So if you want to join us on Friday night, please don't watch Raya and the Last Dragon yet. We're going to watch it soon together.
Very soon. Next week, actually. So not this week, but next week.
I thought you're gone next week.
I am, but I told you to go on without.
Oh, okay, cool. Sorry.
So I won't be watching.
You'll watch it at some point. I know you will. You'll watch it a lot. Your daughter's going to love it.
I'm involved with the wedding, so I can't be there. I'm like, okay, we can't go another week without a movie. So taking one for the team. and Susie will be heading the chat during that movie. But this Friday night, we're actually meeting up with one of our patrons who's going to be rolling through the Jacksonville area, Christoph. I don't know if you're still watching, but we're looking forward to hanging out with you on Friday night. And but yeah, so
yeah, if y'all are ever in Jacksonville, or if you're ever at Disney, or first of all, we should know if you're at Disney, you should book your trip with us. But if you didn't, we'll forgive you. We'd still like to see you. There's a pretty high chance we may be in the parks. I know we've got some stuff coming up this summer.
Yes, indeed. Like races and things. Anyway.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, I think that's going to do it for tonight's episode. But thank you again, everybody, for listening. As always, thank you for watching, those of us on the live stream. We look forward to coming back at you next week with another episode. But until then, friends, remember, if you can dream it, you can do it.
There's really no secret about our approach. We keep moving forward, opening up new doors, doing new things, because we're curious. And curiosity keeps leading us down new paths. We're always exploring and experimenting.